Hey everyone, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the pub, and we are celebrating the pub because the mouse is away and we're going to play. Neil has to work, and he's, I don't know where he is, in Australia or England or some exotic island or whatever
He's always
doing.
so busy, that man.
But we are crashing his parade here, and we're gonna take over the pub. So tonight
100%.
we have several of our Going Bold hosts on. We do the Going Bold Wednesday. And so we are going to be talking about Look Who's Talking, and we have a particular subject. And we've got a few more people that are going to be joining us here. So let's go on with our introduction. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. And on this platform, on the Wednesday platform, I do the Boy and Girls Show with Dr. Christopher Salute, which will be coming up here a little bit later on this evening. So take it away, Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham Williamson. I'm from England, but live in Florida for the last 20 years. I'm an international medical intuitive, evidential medium and psychic, and I just did my show finishing at 6 o'clock, so I'm back again to join in the pub, which brings back a lot of British memories.
That was a fun show we had, Graham. The first show we had, and I apologize. I'll let y'all continue.
No problem.
I'm just sharing the show.
And then Arnie.
Yeah, my name is Arnie Fonseca. I am the host of the Life, Love, and Adventure show, and I'm just happy to be here, hoping to learn about these folks and how I can bring some value here.
Awesome.
Well, Arnie, you've been on this platform for a long time. Yeah, a long time.
Funny, I remember the very first time my son was at the hospital. And I was on my phone.
Yeah.
And I was walking around in the garage, and you're like, oh, it was weird. I was trying to find a location where I could get reception.
Yeah. So we really appreciate your show. Your show, just so that people know, you talk about a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
You talk about health topics, and then you talk about relationship and love and communication. And then also you enlighten us on some really cool adventures, because you do a lot of personal adventures that you kind of take us on that ride. And we enjoy that very much. So
yeah, because it's all about giving ourselves options. I mean, if you're not healthy, if you're living a life of pain, whether it be a painful relationship or anything like that, you shrink your world down, and you start to eliminate things that you would like to do because you want to avoid pain, because we're either seeking pleasure or avoiding pain in our lives. And so many times that becomes a very chronic situation. And if we can eliminate that stuff, and whether it's surrounding yourself with bitter people or getting yourself healthy, whatever it might be, you can start to live again.
Now, Arnie, I had always been told that pleasure was the absence of pain. Is that not correct? And this is coming from I got my PhD in org psych, not clinical psych.
Dr. Chris, I think pain is always going to be there, as is pleasure. It's but a lot of people will avoid the pain and seek what I call a level 3 experience, because it's easy to go get the chocolate cake because it tastes good until it hits our gut, and then 15 minutes later you wish you didn't do it. So it feels good. It feels good, but it's not good for you. It's not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good, right?
Right.
But sometimes eating that broccoli, which doesn't always taste good, but it's good for you.
Well, Arnie, you need to come over because my broccoli tastes great.
There you go. But for some people, they won't eat a vegetable because it doesn't. Yeah, So that's the same. I think that's how life is, though, right?
Sure.
Because we can as a guy, you can either choose to click on the porn or go read a book. It's a choice.
It's like a bittersweet.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't we have a tendency to convince ourselves that it's what we want it to be at the moment? in the moment.
Absolutely. The amount, and I'm sorry, I'll introduce Cece.
No, go ahead.
Your whole flow. I'll introduce myself. I was sharing the show to some folks. I hope some of my friends are on chatting. I put it up on Instagram and on some other great things. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute. You could just call me Christopher Arnie, please. I am one of the partners here at the Going Bold portion of Going Solo, and I host the Barber Shop, which is the founding show, and I host the wonderful Boy and Girl show with Cece, and we're gonna have a really good one. If Cece, and can we just say everyone say a quick 10-second, 20-second prayer. I did this on my show last week for you too, Cece, so the Cece gets better. If you're not a praying person, just take a moment of silence, put some good energy out in the world. Can we just do that? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Great. Awesome. Again, if you're not a praying person, if you're out there watching, you're not praying, I get it. It's fine. But at the same time, try to put some good energy out. So what I was saying, oh gosh, what were we just talking? See, I have COVID brain.
Pain and pleasure.
Pain and
pleasure.
You know, it truly is such an interesting when you justify that eventual pain with the pleasure you're about to have. I mean, I try to eat low carbs, not because I'm trying to lose weight. My dad bod's great. I have a great body. But they make me feel like trash. Years and years of crash dieting has turned my bowels into, y'all don't need to hear this. But when I eat carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, I feel terrible. So what did I do the other night? I was having a rough day. Somebody pissed me off or whatever. And what did I do? I literally had 4 biscuits. After biscuit 2, it didn't taste good. It didn't even taste good. But you justify whatever in your head is the right thing to justify.
Yeah, because you had a tough day.
Yeah, she had a tough day, right? And it's just this terrible thing. So I can appreciate that.
But I do a lot of work in recovery, Christopher, and that's the same thing that people go home and say, I used to do it. Hey, it's been a tough day. Give me a drink. I'll have another one. Oh, it's no big deal. I don't drink all the time. I'll have
well, I say this 1,000 times over. So my 2 addictions are carbohydrates and affection. Not necessarily sex, but affection. I could give or take sex, but you give me a soft hug and some bread, and I'm just a happy man. So those are when I'm having a rough day, those are things I go to.
Well, mine's simpler: bacon, egg, butty.
What is
it?
Oh,
bacon and eggs.
Bacon and egg, butty.
Bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife,
I'll take since we're on it, I'll take a ribeye.
There you go.
Hey, with a ribeye, I'm fine.
There you go.
Manna's in. Manna's here. Yay!
That's funny. That's funny. So folks, I want to bring in this
Brianna,
this topic.
Thanks for commenting.
Oh, hey Brianna. Oh, would Brianna say who what?
Brianna, she said, who could
possibly want more?
Bacon and eggs, or maybe it's the bacon and eggs.
I do.
You're not wrong. I think she was talking about the bread, but who knows?
Yeah.
So today's topic that I wanted to bring to you, gentlemen, and this is going to be an interesting one, and Cece as well. My apologies. Is we were talking a bit about what topic we should bring up. This has been something that I've been thinking about for some time. I wanted to bring up the idea of verbal abuse or abusive, Brianna says carbs and affection, verbal abuse or abusive communication styles within relationships. And I prepped, I'll let you know, I prepped my specific following on this, because for a man to say that, now I'm going to go out on a limb and say that at least I know Graham and Cece are in a different generation, and Arnie, I'm going to say you're a couple years older than me. There's I know, I apologize.
Only 2, Cece.
Yeah. So there's this trend going on, and what is this trend going on? The trend going on over the past couple of years is that that we men, when we say we've been in an abusive setting, we were the abusers. We are narcissists. We are playing a victim. And I preface this with, I've been in an abusive relationship, so I see these things, and it goes both ways, right? So I wanted to talk a bit about when what types of abusive language we've seen in relationships, what that looks like, how to break those things down, how to get away from those situations, what the healthier way to communicate with your partner would be, those types of things. You guys okay with that? Are you folks okay with that?
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because
We'll roll with it.
Yeah, I've been married twice before. And the first one, it was mostly ghosting, undermining who I was as a person.
Ghosting? Tell me about ghosting.
Well, from what I can gather, it's a modern term, but basically, whatever you do in the marriage, there's an ulterior motive that you're not aware of personally, but the person tells you that there's an ulterior motive, a negative input in it. And you think you start questioning what you're saying from yourself.
Oh, gaslighting.
Well, you call it gaslighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gaslighting. Yeah.
Okay.
Because ghosting, Graham, is if I link up with someone and then I drop them.
Yeah, you don't call them or text them or anything.
Hey, I'm learning.
You vanish.
It's all modern stuff to me.
Wait, he's in that generation with me now. Don't you, Connie?
I don't know.
So, you know.
I'm liking Christopher so far. He put me down a generation. I'm good.
Good.
Well, I've named Cece. You know, she's just a couple of years younger than me, you know, so, you know.
That's okay. I can still have Graham and Cece's back. I got your back, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
But what are you doing on my back? That's the trouble.
I'll be the bridge.
Oh, okay. That's the point, though, that when you find out that no matter what you say or do is wrong,
right,
and it undermines the marriage, and you think, well, I love you, and I'm giving you everything I can, but it's never good enough.
Right.
And
but you know, Graham, that's
the words that said "I love you." It's not meant.
You know, Graham, that's the number one fear in the world. I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Along with I'm never going to be loved.
It's self-doubt rather than been put there by somebody else.
I could pull men, and 99.9 would tell you that they're not good enough.
But I'm glad I got through it.
Right.
They'll all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're watching on Instagram, we're talking to Cece, Arnie, and Graham about abusive language in relationships, abusive communication styles, and we just talked about gaslighting. So, if I may, for everyone, right? Gaslighting is the idea that someone actually makes you question your own reality, right? So they say, "I didn't do that. No, you did that. No, I didn't." I can give you a great example, not in a bad way. I have severe ADHD, and I'm just starting to navigate that over the past couple of years. Now, I know everyone says, I've got it. Okay, I've got diagnosed, got it. I will question everything to the point where I love my roommate. She and I the other day had this thing, and I didn't know if I ate something or if she ate something. I literally didn't know if I ate something. I mean, that's how sometimes my own reality can be altered because of my ADHD. So I'm very easy to gaslight. Somebody can come up to me and say, no, I didn't say that. You said that. And I can go, really? If they pressed it hard enough, if they yelled at me hard enough, or they communicated in a way that was harsh enough, I go, shoot, this person's pretty pissed off. I guess I probably did it, you know?
Well, Christopher, I think, and maybe Arnie can answer this, but I think that gaslighting, it's when it's intentional. I mean, there's a difference between, maybe you forgot something, we all do. And Christopher, as we get older, that happens. But with saying that, Arnie, what do you think? I mean, isn't that
gaslighting is intentional?
Yeah, it's intentional.
But
hey, we got somebody else here. Hello,
JT. Hey, JT.
How you doing?
How you doing? Now, this is our communications guy, JT Voisey.
Yeah. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
How are you?
I'm just wonderful.
Awesome.
We're talking about gaslighting.
We're talking about gaslighting and abusive communication styles.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Workplace violence. It's called workplace violence for some people. It's caustic conversations or comments. I've seen it in law enforcement. I'm a retired deputy. I've seen it in other areas too. When you talk about gaslighting, I mean, it's literally putting gasoline to a fire that's probably been brewing for a while. And people don't.
Are we talking about communication?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Are we talking about communication?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I thought you were talking about lighting a lamp or something.
Sure.
We're sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're on a different trail.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
So my thoughts go to the workplace, and it's a form of workplace violence. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going. All right, where's he going with this? Is he saying that? Is he saying that our relationships are work? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You know, I'm not gonna put it. You know, I'm not gonna turn him down. So what are some other types that you've seen in your life? You know, and look, if you're on, we tend to get a lot of women viewers, female viewers on the show. So feel free to chime in. This is not, we're not bashing people here, right? Tell us what you've experienced and how you've kind of circumnavigated. I looked up a couple of articles, and the few things that I specifically, thought of when I thought of communication breakdown, specifically abusive ones, yelling, the silent treatment is my least favorite one, right? The silent treatment. Being excessively angry for long periods of time can certainly be being a manipulative tactic. Bullying, excessive teasing is a subtle way to make someone feel inferior. Now, Mana says, gaslighting also has an element of control, trying to keep the other person constantly questioning everything, so they have to rely on the person who's gaslighting. I love that explanation. I hate what you just said, right? So in your case, Graham, this is a great understanding of what they want to do. They want you to come back and go, honey, did I leave that in the garage? Right? Because then they go, oh no, baby, you can't do anything without me. Come on, don't you remember? Right? And we've heard that on both sides, right? Men and women. Yeah,
that's just it, because a lot of people think it's male abusive and female.
Right.
Because of technology, now it works both ways. Now I've got 5 sisters.
Right.
And I've got 2 brothers. And it's amazing of the interaction.
Right.
Well, there's more women, they control the house. No, everybody controls your house who lives there. Like at the moment, I've got my wife and my daughter here. And it's marvelous how we interact with each other. Nobody's the boss. That way, I've found out what I say can help them, or they can say, no, we don't like that. Let's try something else. And it's amicable. Everybody's open. And nobody's trying to push anybody as the top dog sort of thing. Because in the armed forces, I went through that a lot. Then I went into the security business. And the way we had to do our job was to keep our mouth shut and our ears open. And it's so frustrating being told by people, especially in security, the police, I should imagine as well, which I've worked with a lot, being told, you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong. And excuse me, I'm backing out. I'll just step away. This is the safest way. Just step away.
Right. No, I totally hear that. And JT, you're newest to the group here. What am, and especially as a communication person, what am I missing with regard to abusive communication styles? Have I missed any?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't here for the whole conversation. However, there are different levels. I mean, when you talk about communication levels and things that can go wrong, the thing with me is with supervisors who undermine the people that work under them, and that's with caustic conversations, with even foul language. I've experienced this myself, and it's not a very pleasant thing. You would think that in law enforcement, the danger is on the street. Not always. It's sometimes in the office itself. And I say danger, I'm talking about the danger of losing your job in that regard, nothing physically. Sure. However, it can leave you branded for life if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, or if you retaliate, or even respond in kind. There's a term that I have tried to live for and about, and then it's a soft answer turns away wrath. And it's a very common thing that if a person starts a conversation that's hostile, the next person is going to try and go to the next level. And I've seen that time and time again in our offices. So that's where I'm coming from.
No, that makes a ton of sense. So I want to just share for a second why this kind of topic came about, if I may. So I don't know if you remember, Cece, the reason for the name of my show, The Barbershop. The reason that I named the show, I'm sitting in a barbershop one day, and in walks this man. I mean, he's not a specifically tough looking guy. He's a burly guy. He's a big guy. He's got some muscles. And I don't know why he decided that on this day he was going to disclose his trials and tribulations of his marriage to the entire barbershop, but he did. Maybe he just felt comfortable, or he just had enough, and he broke down in tears, and he said that his wife was abusing him verbally all the time. She was shoving him. She was all these things, yelling, silent, everything you could possibly give. He said, I'm in therapy. I have 2 therapists that I work with just to try to make this work with this person. And I remember my heart breaking for this man, number one. And number two, I thought, what a great avenue to discuss your feelings at the barbershop, because he obviously feels like he's comfortable enough to do that in a room full of men, to say, have you ever been here before? Right? Have you ever been in this situation? And so I find that to be so interesting. Now, there's, again, I have to, we're all coming from different generations here, but there are a lot of movements in my generation and generation below me that are basically saying, look, any man who wants to have a voice in this arena is full of it. They've never been abused. They create all these patterns. And I'm here to say, and I think it's important that we note during this conversation, that there are these situations on both sides. There's, not necessarily as many or as often, but if you give your husband or your boyfriend the silent treatment until they figure it out what it is that has ticked you off, or they have figured out how to make it better by taking you to dinner, that is abusive communication. If you are yelling at somebody in public and people are laughing, has anyone seen, I tried to find it today, Cece, have you ever seen, there's a YouTube video, 2 instances, and I've referenced it before. Do you know the one I'm talking about? It's a man and a woman, and then a woman and a man. And there's a reason I'm listing them both separately. It's in London, and they're walking through the streets of London, and the man is yelling at the woman. Now, he doesn't get but maybe 7 or 8 words out before people are in and says, whoa, buddy, what are you doing? Hey. He tries to put his hand towards her face. These people are grabbing him, okay? He gets nowhere. And they run this 50 times, all the streets of London. Now, they reverse the scenario. And they have the woman screaming at the man through the streets of London about 50 different times. Not only does she scream at him and people laugh, not only does she grab him by the face and push him and people laugh, not only does she shove him into a gate, like a metal gate, and he's in pain and he's acting, and they laugh at him. It never gets to a point where somebody intervenes. People laugh at him and go, "Oh man, you really pissed off the wrong woman." This is really like not a vacuum. This is real life stuff. Yep. And I think to myself, we live in a world where that can happen. Now, of course, we live in a world where the other can happen as well, and that makes me sick to my stomach. But what are your thoughts?
Well, as soon as you were saying that, I remember seeing stuff in London and that happening, and I heard the people saying, "Oh, he deserves it. He must have done
right."
something." And I thought, hang on a minute. You don't know both sides of the story. And I go up and I literally went up to the guys in Whitechapel, and I said, "Well, okay, do you want to sit down? Because what you're doing is making yourselves look center of attention. That's the last thing you need."
Arnie, what do you have?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it is in England, but I know this in this country here. Let's just go back 20 years. I mean, this is a while ago. The U.S. has done everything in the world possible to demasculate men. Everything from the TV to everything, and that's just my opinion, my observation. I'm just inspecting the fruit, and so we're seeing it with our men. I mean, everything from lower testosterone levels to you name it, and so they're getting men where they want them, where they can control them better, and the problem with that, guys, is that women are getting sick of that. And it's nice for a while until they're done with it. And then they just kick those guys to the curb and they move on. And the guy's sitting there going, what did I do? And they're being abused. You're right.
They did it wrong, yeah.
We are being abused. But they don't know what that have to do about it. most guys have no clue what to do.
Right.
They're
Right.
lost.
You know, and I'm not
Or
gonna.
they're
I'm not
set
gonna.
up to be abused. They're set up to be abused.
I'm not gonna play a martyr, and you know, but I've been in that situation, right? And I just kind of froze, to be honest. I didn't know what the heck to do. I go, what the heck is going? You're doing what? You know, because I would never lay my hands on somebody. I would never verbally abuse somebody in a way.
Because,
you know,
well, because it's flight or fright or freeze.
or
right?
freeze. Yeah, I'm a freeze guy in that situation.
A lot of people are freeze people. People don't understand that's become the latest trend. You just freeze.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. If it was a man, though, in a pub, in an actual pub, I mean, I've been in situations where there's 20 guys and I'll just grab somebody and beat the crap out of them. But in that situation, I didn't even know if he was the right guy or what, or if he was the wrong guy for just being next to me. But in that situation, yeah, I froze, 100% froze. Finally, I got up. And I did the worst thing somebody could do while I was being yelled at from about 20 feet away. I hit my desk in frustration because I was in the middle of class. I was in the middle of teaching online and licensing. And of course, that was the straw that broke that person's back, who said, "How dare you hit a desk in an act of intimidation?" And I was like, "You gotta be friggin' kidding me. Go away. Just leave. Just go." And I laughed. I laughed. I couldn't anymore. I couldn't hold it back. So, you know.
Well, you know, being a woman in this type of conversation, it's it's difficult because any way we look at it, both from, you know, a woman yelling at a man or a man yelling at a woman, it's disrespectful all the way
100%.
around. Now, I'll be the first one to say tempers get raised, you know, and maybe words are said and they shouldn't be said. But if it's a form of abuse, and I think any of us that's a bystander listening to it, we should all say, "Hey, wait a minute, what's going on here?" You know,
Right.
And maybe keep our distance when we're saying that. But you know, but the reality is that it's abuse all the way around. And so, what do the men do? I mean, that's the question: is what do they do if they find themselves in that situation? Yeah. And they shouldn't be, because nobody should be actually, you know, experiencing that. But the reality is it's life, and it happens. Like, you know, that old saying, shit happens. And so the guys, I think, have to make sure they don't escalate it by movement or doing anything else, you know, that's going to cause the tables to be turned, because the woman is actually abusing them. You don't want it turned to where, you know, and John, maybe you might want to get in on this, but you don't want to turn it to where you're doing something that's going to make them think that.
Cece, I'll tell you what's happening. The same thing's happening to men over the last 20 some years, which is what's happening to police officers in the United States. They're just put their hands in their pockets and walking away, because they lose anyway, Cece. They lose any way they tried. So, because if they escalate, raise their voice, even if they're not raising their voice, it could be construed as raising your voice or getting angry or mad. So they lose. If they put a hand on somebody, even if it's to reach out for a hug or something, they could be accused of something else. So they're, like I said earlier, I've talked to enough men. They are massively confused. What are you supposed to do? Which is why, if you're in a relationship, the first thing is, first of all, make sure you're in the right relationship, which comes with my whole thing about dating anyways, which is why dating is a process to find out if you're with the right person. And if you're not talking about things, if you're not talking about how to communicate with me and sharing that knowledge with your partner or potential partner, you're making a big mistake, which is why people that jump into bed too soon make big mistakes, because they don't even know how to talk to each other. Instead, all of a sudden you get a conversation that comes up that is, maybe it's political, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. And all of a sudden, holy crap, look at who is this person? And then it's terrible.
I'll tell you a funny story. So I'm on a date. This is years ago, and Cece and Graham have been in shows with me, so y'all know that I was a little bit of a bad boy back in the day. Went on a lot of dates, and I went on this date with this woman, and we went to a movie theater, and I dropped her off at the front of the theater because it was raining, and I wanted to be a gentleman. and I dropped her off with an umbrella. And I think I dropped her off under an awning, and then I took the umbrella. So I go meet her, and it takes me 3-4 minutes to get from the car to where she's at, and she's smoking a cigarette. Now my mother died of lung cancer, just can't I can't stomach it. I can't if you smoke, that's fine. It's not something I can be a part of. So of course, though, I'm young and stupid, and we go into the movie theater, and we're a little handsy in the theater, and we go home to my place, and naturally we finish the handsiness at home, and we're laying in bed, and I'm sorry. So before that happens, I say you're a smoker. She goes, yeah, I guess we should have discussed that before the date. I said, yeah, maybe. So we finished the date. She comes home with me. We finished that part of the date again, and we're laying in bed, and she goes, so what do you want? What kind of relationship do you want? And I said, I'm not really interested in one. I guess we should have talked about that before the date. So,
there you go.
Were you a sailor by any chance, Chris?
What's
That's
that?
it.
Were you a sailor by any chance?
No, I was not. I would have been in the Air Force if I joined any of them. Now, I want to talk about Mana's comment for a second. First of all, because I adore anybody who engages, and I adore Mana's comments. But thirdly, because I agree, it's harder for men. Now, listen, I want to speak up about this for a second, and we'll all disagree.
It's not to interrupt. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to duck out, guys.
Okay.
Duck out. Okay.
Totally fine.
All right.
Okay, it was
Thank you,
nice
though.
having you, Arnie.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
being on the
Arnie.
show.
All the best.
Bye,
Nice
guys.
meeting you.
Bye.
Now I'm gonna disagree with a little bit of this whole men as victims kind of conversation, because a lot of men have put us in this situation, right? There have been years and years of abuse that has been perpetuated. So it's not all one-sided. But I will say this: for a man who truly is in touch with themselves, who has an equal partner, who is and is trying to make it work, it is very challenging for men to say, I want to talk about my mental health. This is abuse to me, or I'm feeling a certain way because of this whole, well, be a man kind of conversation. And I find it a challenge, and maybe y'all can help me out here. I find it a challenge to be this new 2022 sensitive man, which is what I want to be. I want to be in tune. I mean, any one of my partners would ever tell me, and half of them have been on the show, but they would tell you that even if they can't find the words, I'll help them find the words. I'm that kind of listener, right? But then when it's time for me to say I need help, I have a problem saying that because of my masculinity, my manhood, and I wonder if they would find me less manly because I said that. What are your thoughts?
I don't think so.
No.
One of the things that as I said, I've got 5 sisters, and I went to school and I was a timid sort of guy until I joined the Navy. I was introverted. I read comics, didn't go boo to a goose, and I was bullied. Then I joined the Navy. When I left the Navy, I made the decision to say, I'm standing up for me now. I'm not being selfish, not being arrogant. I'd had a failed marriage. I was going to go into a second marriage, then found out she was being abused.
Right.
And then when I found that out and the love had gone and we separated our ways, she went and remarried, got a lovely family now. But in that, I went, why is it people say it's the man's fault or the woman's fault? It's neither. It's not a fault. It's a conditioning of society. And we are all answerable to it. The churches, the groups, the social life, everything is conflicting because of the news reports. Everybody's getting mixed signals. So how the heck can a man say, I'm manly if I follow this, I'm manly if I follow that? None of them are right, and yet all of them are right.
Well, coming again from a woman's perspective, I feel, and maybe the ladies out there can also comment to, how they're feeling. But if a guy's, if I hear a guy say that was abusive or I felt this way, I would have more respect for him to do that, for doing that. I mean, I wouldn't want my guy to sit and I know he's going to have to sit and take it. Right. And I have had, my son experienced this at one time. He was dating someone and she was very abusive to him. And he was afraid that eventually that it was going to be taken, that maybe he would have do something to her,
Right,
and
right.
that the arguments kept going, getting, and finally he started saying, this is not me. I'm not this way. And so I think women would respect a man that said, hey, this is abusive behavior, and I don't want this kind of behavior. I'm not going to tolerate this kind of behavior, nor would I do this to you.
Right. You give what
and
you get.
So, I mean, we all get mad, and we all kind of maybe raise our voice and maybe say something that's not quite appropriate. I think those are conversations that we're not really having here. Here we're having where the guy is actually getting abused. Right. And I think that the man has to step up and say, hey, wait a minute, just as we're going to step up as women and say, this isn't happening to me. And if you continue to act this way to me, I'm not here. I hope so. There comes a time when each individual has to respect their lives, and they have to love themselves enough to stand up and say, this relationship is just not working for me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And I think that's what Brianna had meant when she said exacgly the opposite.
Yeah, I think she wrote something here.
Oh, okay.
She would want to strengthen a man because it is the opposite of social norm. Men are still humans. Exactly.
Right.
Respect of self.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Now, female, respect of self. As soon as you've got that, then you've got the strength to say no or yes, whatever you choose.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's nothing more sexier, I think, than a man that stands up for himself. 100%. Not being abusive or, being cocky, but a guy that, knows who he is and is going to say, this isn't me. I'm not.
And I will say this, as a man, there's nothing sexier than a woman who does the same thing. Mm-hmm. I find if my partner comes to me and they say, you know what, we had this conversation an hour ago. I have to talk to you about this. What you said didn't rub me the right way. I felt blah, 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 blah. And if they do it in a way that teaches me and they do it in a way that's not yelling or, whatever, I go, wow, that was hot. That was super hot, because now you've instructed me. Now, we all know I'm a dominant person. I've said it on the show 1,000 times. So there's a difference, though, between being a submissive partner and being a doormat, right? Mm-hmm. Because I would never, and I say this a million times, I say this to any partner I've ever had. If I woke up in the morning and you regretted a single minute that you spent with me, whether it was physical, intimate, communicative, whatever it was, I would hate myself. I need you to tell me when I'm screwing up, because I ain't going to adjust that for you. So the fact that a partner can come back to you and say, hey, you did this and I just didn't feel it for X, Y, and Z reasons, one of the most attractive things you can do, because now I can adjust and be a better lover for you, and you ain't going anywhere, because I'm going to definitely make sure that I do my job for you. And it just makes everything so much better. Yeah, well, that's part, like John, you would probably know, that's part of communicating, isn't it? That's part of sharing, how you feel about things and, what your expectations are of your partner.
Well, it goes along with the very basic lines of communication, no matter if it's could be in a quasi friction, like in a relationship. The better man will listen more and talk less, mm-hmm. and not be reactive to a sentence, one sentence, and not parse it. I mean, you don't have to parse it, but the idea here is that you listen softly and just be careful and just take it in. Don't try and think of things to say while the person's talking. We know this is common communication basics. So yeah, it works. It works for me that if I can hear and listen and attempt, and if I don't understand something, I'll ask the question. Okay. Would you say it a different way or help me understand what you're saying? I've done this on a number of occasions, and it's helped because the person knows that I care enough about the conversation that I want more information to continue the conversation. So that helps.
So let's see. Brianna says a lot of these situations occur too because people enter relationships before establishing communication norms with each other. Communication is key so that small situations don't boil over. I want to hold on to this for a second because.
Oh wait, man is saying something here.
Oh, This is all under the assumption that the abusive partner is open to understanding and changing their hurtful behavior and the amount of courage it takes. Yes. So two very, very different notions here. So let's attack each one. So Brianna says a lot of these situations occur because people enter relationships before establishing communication norms with each other. So it's so interesting because I see this constantly. I cannot tell you how many relationships, because I coach this stuff, and I just see this stuff with friends, with people, and they jump into these relationships. They jump into the. I don't know if I ever said it on the show, but I had this woman who was trying to date me a year ago or so, was in my inbox calling me daddy within 24 hours of talking to me. Do you know how? Look, if you're not in that lifestyle, let me educate you on the word daddy for a second. The word daddy denotes a lot of protection, loyalty. There's a sexuality involved with it.
I don't like it. I only have one dad. Yeah, that's it.
If you call someone daddy, you have a very, very, very secure relationship with that person. It is something I like, so I know a little bit about it. So go through all the stuff, and I say, look, I'm not really interested in this thing with you. And how could you? I was so blunt. No, you were out of your. You were crazy. You're giving me, call me daddy. I've had other situations. Crazy. Yeah, where I've had other situations where people go, I've disclosed so much to you. No, taking 2 seconds to tell me your favorite color and give me a paragraph of all your favorite TV shows, not disclosing too much. You disclose over time. You disclose in situations. When you're a writer, right? I hated this idea when I was learning how to write, and my publishers and my editors and my professors, they said, look, don't write right away. Take your character, put them in situations that they would be in. An older woman drops her purse in the middle of the street and a car's coming. What do? A dog gets lost. What do? They're at the bank and there's not enough funds in their account. How do they react? A server gets their order wrong. How do they react? These are the things in which you put your character in, so you get to know your character. So when it's time to write the story just flows. The same thing is to be said about a relationship. You don't just jump in. You have to learn these things with someone before the situation arises, because what happens if you get pregnant? I always say this. If you're not going to have a conversation with me about kids, I'm not having a conversation with you about sex.
Yeah, happening.
Because I can tell you where I'm at, and I'm not having a kid with just anybody. So let's be clear on that, right? So that's number one.
I'm sorry. That got me. That phrase got me. It's like,
but
wait a minute.
Call you daddy then, Chris.
Right, that's the one that called me daddy. Exactly. Yeah,
but we can't call you daddy, can we?
That's why she's calling you daddy. That's why.
Right.
She said, yeah.
Now I want to bring up Manas and Brianna. I want to applaud you for typing with your nails, because I know that's challenging for you. So that's an inside joke. So Mana, this is all under the assumption that the abusive partner is open to understanding and changing hurtful behavior, and of courage it takes. Now there's a couple things I want to dissect here. I want to say this, Mana. I think that we were discussing in a healthy relationship that you'd be able to voice that. No, if you're in an abusive relationship, if somebobody's abusing you, Brandon says, yes, it is. If somebody's abusing you, no. Just saying that's not going to work for me, no. If you're in an abusive relationship, in my opinion, get the hell out, right? If you're in a healthy relationship where somebody says, I didn't like that, that's fairly easy to correct. And that's where communication styles come into. Now, the other part of that is the courage you say to stand up to an abusive partner and say, this isn't okay. Now, I know, Mana, from your TikTok, you talk about the boiling frog. Do y'all know what the boiling frog is?
Nope.
Okay. So I found this to be one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard. The boiling frog is, so if I were to tell you to boil a frog, you say, okay, I'll take this pot of boiling water here.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, boil it.
Where they don't jump out.
Right. And if I put the frog in, the frog jumps out. Right. Now, what if I do this? What if I take the water, I turn it on, I put the frog in, and I turn on the heat. The frog has some lukewarm water. He's just chilling in a hot tub. Hotter, 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 hotter. He can't get out because you just cooked the frog. And so that is typically how abusive relationships go. that's how you found yourself, Graham, in a situation where you were getting yelled at and you didn't realize. You go, how did I get to this point? We always ask ourselves, how did I get to this point? Because it didn't start that way. The partner who was yelling at me from 30 feet away started our relationship off by saying, don't worry, you don't know this about me, and I'd leave it typically in the past, but I had gotten some stuff on the internet people said, and people said I was a terrible person. She said, oh, don't worry, baby. You are a terrible person, but through me, through my love and my care and me helping you build your reputation, we're going to make that all better for you, baby. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Fail.
She still talks about
She's going to change you.
Yeah.
She's going to fix you.
So fast forward 2 years, she's screaming in a garage, and because that's where my office was. I had a guest room and then my office in the garage. She's screaming in the garage, packing up, and I'm going, how did this get so bad? And I realized it got so bad because you're boiling the frog. And so any type of abuse is typically where, we see it. It happens slowly. It's, a great movie to watch. Now, I preface this with, people don't know this about me. I can't watch abuse. I can't watch SVU. I can't watch a sexual assault scene. I can't watch a man hitting a woman at all. I can't. Oddly enough, I could watch a woman hit a man, and there's your bias right there. But a good movie to watch if you've seen it is called Enough. Have you ever seen the movie Enough?
No, not yet.
No,
I don't watch any abuse stuff.
No,
I don't find it entertaining. To me, it's not an entertaining. I want to, if I'm going to spend my time watching something, I want to be entertained. And watching somebody get abused is not entertainment.
Right. Well, the basic premise is he winds up beating the heck out of her, and she finally leaves, and she learns Taekwondo, and she gets back, and Brianna says, yes, such a good one with J-Lo, right? Yes, it's with J-Lo. So here's what I can't watch it though, Brianna, because I can't watch her get hit like that. I just can't. So it starts off with him cheating, right? Or like working late and then cheating, and then she questions him cheating, and then he basically just abuses her verbally, and then finally he punches her in the face. And so it starts off this very light, and then it continues the pattern. And so I think, how do we get in this situation? We got in this situation because we're here, So it's very, very interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that does happen. And trouble is we can't solve all the problems in the world, which we'd love to do that. But it's the reality is when you start feeling something's not right, that's when you have to take action of it. You have to start realizing and going back and looking at it and understanding, and maybe talking to the guys in the barbershop and trying to get some feedback. That am I seeing things right? Am I misreading this? And so that you can start, figuring out what path you want your life.
Clear the lines of communication.
Yeah.
And we call that dissonance, right? When things don't line up, you get that nauseousness in your belly. It's called cognitive dissonance. Now, your guys could tell you, and I think we should I'm going to probably leave in a couple minutes so I can prep for our show, Cece's. But maybe the guys will tell you, dude, wait, tell me that story again. You cheated on her and she was quiet for 2 weeks. Yeah, you deserve that, bud. You know what I mean? You deserve for her to leave you. Or they may say, wait, all you did was get her fries wrong. Is there more to that? And maybe there was more to that you left out and you go, well, I got her fries wrong and I said her mom was a jerk. All right. So, you know what I mean? Like, they'll ground you a little bit, but you have to, the most challenging part when you're doing that grounding, Cece, is you being accountable. You have to make sure you're telling the story right? Because so many times we've told the story, we go, I don't even know what I did. You don't know what you did, buddy. You forgot her birthday. She had every right to be mad at you. You forgot her birthday. So on that, I'm going to say, for me, I need to split in the next couple minutes. It's up to you, Cece, if you want to continue. I know
okay, we can go ahead and end the show. But so you guys, this was the pub that we crashed, and it was fun. And so Christopher and I are going to be on. Dr. Chris is going to be on the boy and girl thing coming up here soon
at 7 Pacific.
Yeah. Are we coming up? What time are we doing our show? I don't even remember now.
I
have so many shows. I don't remember what time.
It's at 6. Sorry. At 6 Pacific, right?
Yeah, ours is at actually 9 Eastern time.
9 Eastern time.
Yeah, so the next show is going to be the dad's going solo, but unfortunately he's has to go to the doctor, so he's not able to attend the show. So we have to reschedule that one. But so we have Graham's show, which has already taken place, and his show was at 5.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun. So we enjoyed that show. And then JT had his show at 4. So and his show is about communications. And this past show was really quite interesting. You had your pastor on, and you talked about communication in the church and all that. That was kind of interesting. So yeah.
And the focus, as the mission statement says, is towards the single person, which one of the greatest examples is the woman at the well, if you know the Bible at all. So the woman at the well who meets Jesus, and that's a great whole storyline of single people meeting someone, communication that took place. So.
Yeah, that was very, very enlightening. It was very good show. So with that, we're going to close out the show. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And I want you to stick around at 9 o'clock. And we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about, Christopher? We're going to be talking about love languages.
Let's talk about
Well, I'm going to be in the land of Nod, but I'm definitely going to watch the video.
You're going to watch the video. So we're going to talk about love languages. JT, I would suggest you watch a video too.
Thanks, Christopher. Thanks, John.
Yeah, so that would be fun. And what's the barbershop? The barbershop you're going to talk about? The
barbershop tonight, we are talking about communication styles. What communication has come to in 2022, and I'm going to rant about lack of communication and how we can fix it.
Yeah. So this is a good preview, to that. Good lead in. Yeah. So absolutely.
You never know. I might be awake.
I hope Manna and Brianna and everyone out there, I hope you'll come back on the show to Boy and Girl thing, because I always need your support. So it'll be fun. So yeah, we'll catch you back here. So hang around on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We have the Going Bold Wednesday, and we have a lot of fun with it. So thank you, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.